All right. Good morning, Lake County. Welcome to our August 5th, 2025 regular Board of Supervisors meeting. As customary, we'll start off with a moment of silence. Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to turn this moment of silence into a moment of gratitude. Had a very harrowing experience. Unfortunately, again, we've all experienced this too often. Another fire that could have been a disaster, but we really dodged a bullet. One of the summaries that I received from our local fire district, Lake County Fire Protection District, was this was the most uncontrolled control burn that we could have had. We did have some structures that were damaged. I believe one home was damaged. No homes were lost at this moment in time. And so I think that we were very fortunate and really have great gratitude for all those that were on the ground, the helicopters, the airplanes, the entire teamwork that was displayed both on the mountainside and in the air. Just really took something that was horrendously scary and had probably some of the best possible results coming out of it, that we were able to leave with just that level of damage rather than what could have happened. The wind we can't control, but it definitely helped out as well. It was actually part of the team in some sense. But I just want to have a moment of gratitude for all those from outside of the county, within the county, that just fought really hard to make sure that everybody was safe and that fire was able to be contained by about 9:30 p.m. I think everybody started lowering their guards a little bit more. So very thankful and just want to have that moment.
Thank you. Supervisor Pyska, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item 5, approval of the consent agenda. Looks like so far we have one item that's pulled. Anybody from the board can pull an item for future discussion. Go ahead, 5.4, did I say? Yep. Oh, item 4.
Yes,
Sorry,
that's okay.
I was getting too ahead of myself.
5.6.
So one second, I got to go back to 4.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Go back to consideration of extra items not appearing on the posted agenda. Are there any?
There are no items.
Okay, good. All right, so now we'll move on to number 5, approval of consent agenda. So far, I have 5.4, and you said 5.
5.6, I'd like to pull it.
Okay, and so anyone from the board can pull one of these for future discussions as they're non-controversial commonly. However, if there's future discussion or further discussion, we'll pull it. If there's anyone from the public that would like to pull an item, please come forward and let us know which one it is.
I'm going to grab it.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Board. Margot Kambara, Lake County resident. I request that item 5.3 be pulled from the consent agenda. Thank you.
All right, are there any others? No hands in Zoom. With that, I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of items 5.3, 5.4, and 5.6.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right. Next is our timed items. We will start out with public input. If there's anyone that would like to come up and speak for 3 minutes and talk about an item that's not appearing on the agenda, we'll give you 3 minutes to state your name for the record. I see one here for Steve Lee, CEO of eCenter, to discuss a couple of subjects. I know one of them is breastfeeding awareness, and that we'll be covering that in a proclamation, but the other, you can speak as long as you want about the other.
Sure. Good morning, members of the board, Mr. Chair. I rise today to really just offer my brief support. I'm also joined here with our WIC director, Kim. If you could stand and wave. Tim, our assistant director, and also the chair of our board. We come in here to rise in support of the work that your board has done, particularly with breastfeeding awareness, and obviously that's going to be presented later. But more importantly as well is child abuse awareness. The E-Center has been in operation in Lake County for a number of years. We bring in grant dollars of about $2 million that contribute to the economy. Not only that, but we employed 30 employees. And we continue to do this good work because of your leadership, because your foresight, and really doing the wonderful work here. And so wanted to offer that, and also forwarded a media packet to each of you so that you can easily reference the work that we do here. My card is included in there in the event that you have any questions about our agency and the work that we do, or are looking for opportunities to partnership up. I would welcome that. And in addition to that, we also have a brand new annual report that summarizes the work that we do in Northern California. So thank you so much for your work, and wanted to offer that in support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public input? Sorry. All right, Sterling, if you can unmute, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm here about to address the ongoing mismanagement and lack of transparency in the Spring Valley CSA number 2. I did email all of you guys last night, so I hope you have time to look into that. I just want to bring to your guys' attention that I did a PRA, and I got the variance reports from 2017 to present, and it shows a major loss of water that's not being billed. 2017 is 37%, 2018 is 29%, 2019 is 32%, 2020 is 38%, 2021 28%, 22 is 37%, 23 is 45%, 24 is 41%, and we're only halfway through the year in 25, and that is at a 56% water loss. So that's more than half of what's being billed. The total document loss from 2007 to mid-25 is over 133 million gallons of water unaccounted for. This is not a minor discrepancy. This is a multi-year pattern of negligence, with no meaningful solutions being implemented, and yet the residents of Spring Valley are still being asked to pay for more while receiving less. Despite this overwhelming loss, Director Robin Borey chooses to pursue a state federal grant does not pursue a state federal grant to repair the failing water system. Instead, looks back into a 2012 Proposition 218 standby fee, which had never been enforced by previous directors, and charging standby customers the full price of service plus $6 while denying them the right to turn on their water unless they have an active building permit. And then also during the PRA, I got a receipt stating that she circled it as urgent to put a $17,000 fence around $5,000 worth of cold patch instead of looking into grants to fix the failing infrastructure. Also, in 2024, when they were trying to do the 218 process, in the rate study, it does not show any of this water loss. And I believe that if there's that much water loss, you can't even do a 218. So I'd like you guys to look into that. And I'm requesting that you guys put this on the agenda to where we as Spring Valley members can get the transparency and also look into this, because this is major loss and it's unaccounted for, and we're not getting anything fixed. But then I see in the budget that a rate study has been approved for this coming year. So before we do another 218, we need to figure out where all this water that's unaccounted for is going. It's almost 50% of water loss. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other public input? All right, we'll close public input and move on to our next item, 6.2, Pet of the Week.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan, and I work with the Animal Control Department. And this is Jax. He's about a year old. He's a German Shepherd mix, and he's got lots of energy, and he's very friendly. And he's been in our care since June, and he hasn't let the shelter life change his sweet attitude. He's got, like I said, lots of energy, but once he calms down, he knows some basic commands, and he loves to play tug-of-war and play with his toys, and he'll throw his own toy for himself. While in his care, he's spent time with other dogs, and he's got very good manners around both male and female dogs, and he'd do really well with an active family that'll keep his attention and give him lots to learn. If you're curious about him or any other animals, you could come to 4949 Hellbush Drive, where the shelter is, and meet your new best buddy. Have a good one.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Jax.
All right. Next item is 6.3, presentation of proclamation designating the month of August 2025 as Child Support Awareness Month. And Vice Chair Rasmussen will be reading this proclamation. And if you're here for the proclamation, please come up and join Supervisor Rasmussen.
So proclamation of the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake designating the month of August 2025 as Child Support Awareness Month. Whereas Child Support Awareness Month is recognized in California and nationwide, this year it's important to acknowledge the positive changes and modernization across the country. In the last 5 years, there have been more legislative action improving child support programs than in the past 5 decades. Whereas Child Support Services welcomes the new laws that are making our program more equitable for California families, our wide range of services is completely free for those paying child support and remain at little to no cost for support recipients. Whereas child support professionals are dedicated to assisting parents and legal guardians in providing consistent support for their children and understand that one size does not fit all, from prioritizing payment to families over aid, recoupment to utilizing enforcement actions that promote payment and family stability. The state is committed to finding solutions and meeting people where they are. Whereas during Child Support Awareness Month, we recognize the role of these efforts to help Californians co-parenting their children to thrive and avoid the expense and hassles that come with attorneys and private companies. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby proclaim the month of August 2025 as Child Support Awareness Month and encourages all Californians to recognize that by providing for all Californians' children's is one of the best investments our state can make. Passed and adopted this 5th day of August 2025 and signed by our Chair of the Board, E.J. Crandall. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tammy Widener. I'm the Director of the Child Support Office here in Lake County. I just wanted to publicly take the time to thank my staff. They're hardworking. We have a great team. But I also want to introduce my Deputy Director. She is been in the position since she's also our outreach coordinator, and she's going to take a couple minutes to talk to you about our program and our services. Thank you. Thank you. Whoops, wrong person. There you go. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Tracy Garcia, and as Tammy mentioned, I'm the new Deputy Director. In honor of 2025 Child Support Awareness Month, please pick a purple ribbon and join us in recognizing this important occasion. Our theme this year is New Laws, New Approach, Best Deal.
Our child support services continue to be free for paying parents and those receiving CalWORKs. The non-welfare annual fee for recipients remains no more than $35, just a fraction of the support that they receive. This year marks the first major update in 60 years to the way child support amounts are calculated, resulting in more reasonable orders that parents are better able to pay. Some recent changes to our program include parents released from incarceration now have additional time to establish themselves before resuming payments. A record amount of support is being passed through to parents formerly on cash aid. Outdated enforcement actions have been updated or revoked. I invite you to stop by our office anytime Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, 3980 Guard Street in Kelseyville. Case managers are always available to open child support cases, review your case, to change your child support order, and answer any questions that you have. We provide several convenient payment options, including a self-service kiosk located in our lobby. Please look for us at upcoming community partner events throughout the county and visit our Facebook page for updates. To learn more or to enroll in our services, visit childsupport.ca.gov. With new laws and a new approach, it is your best deal. Thank you for your continued support and participation.
Did you need a picture?
We're going to go ahead and open it up for public input as well, or public comment, just in case. Anybody want to speak on this item?
Not yet.
All right. So we'll close public comment, and then we'll take our picture.
Yeah. Not as quick as you.
Oh, so I'm
From older. Younger than I.
All right, item 6.4, presentation of proclamation designating the month of August 2025 as Breastfeeding Awareness Month in Lake County and consideration of presentation by Motherwise. Supervisor Pyska will be reading this proclamation. If you're here on behalf of this proclamation, please come up and join.
Do you want to come up?
Supervisor
Anyone
Pyska.
can come up that's here for this proclamation. Come on.
That's okay. Got a little boot. I might run in the back.
There's Hannah.
Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California proclamation designating the month of August 2025 as Breastfeeding Awareness Month in Lake County. Whereas breastfeeding is recognized as the optimal way to feed infants, and it is recommended that individuals breastfeed exclusively for 6 months and continue breastfeeding for at least the first 2 years of a child's life. And whereas the journey of breastfeeding looks different for every individual, and what practice should be supported, and that practice should be supported without judgment. And whereas breast milk is the preferred source of nutrition for infants, adapting over time to meet the changing needs of a growing infant. And whereas breastfeeding is a proven primary prevention strategy, protecting both infants and breastfeeding individuals from a host of chronic and acute diseases and conditions, and building a foundation for lifelong health and wellness. And whereas breastfeeding provides a safe, reliable, and renewable food source, especially critical during natural disaster and emergency situations. And whereas the act of breastfeeding builds a strong emotional connection between the breastfeeding individual and infant, and a bond which lasts a lifetime. And whereas partners who are active during the breastfeeding experience provide support that lead to better outcomes for both the infant and the breastfeeding individual. And whereas employers that provide workplace lactation support experience an impressive return on investment, including lower healthcare costs, reduced absenteeism, reduced turnover rates, and improved morale, job satisfaction, and productivity. And whereas individuals who are successful at meeting their breastfeeding goals are more likely to be surrounded by a supportive team of family, friends, coworkers, employers, healthcare providers, child care providers, and other members of the community. And whereas communities which create such positive and supportive environments reap the benefits of healthier infants and parents and more productive workforce, improved household finances, and empowered families. And whereas the Lake County Breastfeeding Coalition, comprised of First Five Lake, Motherwise, Partnership, Health Plan, Social Services, and other local agencies and community members whose efforts support families who choose to breastfeed. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Lake County Board of Supervisors does hereby designate the month of August 2025 as Breastfeeding Awareness Month and urges all citizens to work together to empower parents and enable breastfeeding now and for the future. Passed and adopted this 5th day of August 2025, signed by our Chair of the Board, E.J. Crandall. So, this is a fairly new proclamation that we've added. I think is this their second year or third year? Maybe second. I think so, yeah. So thank you for bringing this, Motherwise, and thank you for the presentation and for all the supporting partners we have here. Breastfeeding is not easy, and it's very natural, but it's harder than people think. And especially when a first-time mother is trying all these things on their own, new to mothering, new to going through the experience of just giving birth, there's a lot of stress involved, and it really takes partners who will show up and just be there with you and hold your hand and sit with you and help you learn this new skill, because it is a skill, and it takes practice. And it takes a lot of support. So thank you for recognizing that, and for building this community, because it really wasn't here when I became a mom 16 years ago. There weren't a lot of resources in this county, and I had to travel out of county for those resources. So thank you for bringing this, and I will pass it over to Motherwise.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. My name is Sabrina Andrus. I'm the Executive Director of Motherwise, and I'm just here on behalf of the Breastfeeding Coalition, which is part of the Maternal Child Adolescent Health Advisory Board that advises the Board of Supervisors. So yeah, we're louder now and out there, and that is the entire purpose, or one of the main purposes of this proclamation, is to really kind of align with what our campaign is, our social media campaign this month, which will be run by the amazing Hannah. Check out the first 5 social media, and that is no shame around breastfeeding and infant feeding, because as Supervisor Peiska mentioned, it's a little bit difficult. It's not difficult for everyone, but every journey is very different. And the more we normalize talking about it, hopefully the easier it becomes. So the Breastfeeding Coalition was a separate entity sort of under MCAH. And then, like probably many of you go to a meeting and it's all the same people there from the other meetings. So why don't we just mush everything together, and then we'll have Breastfeeding Coalition part of MCAH. Some of us are here right now, and we've just done a pretty extensive kind of strategic planning and definition building and values building around what we want our work to look like. We've included that in the packet so that the board can take a look. But really briefly, so our purpose is fourfold. We want to advocate for systemic change to make breastfeeding and infant feeding easier in public spaces, in businesses. We want to support families through education. A lot of times there's very significant racial and ethnic disparities among who breastfeeds and who doesn't. A wide range of reasons for that. A lot of times it's stigma, shame, lack of understanding, lack of awareness or education, and then some institutionalized racism and systemic issues that exist in organizations that may not provide the best possible avenue for breastfeeding for folks, and so that's why we exist. And then we also want to collaborate with stakeholders to make sure that we're building a supportive breastfeeding sort of ecosystem, because as Supervisor Pyska mentioned, it really is about that community and not just mama. And then we want to promote equity by talking about this. So thank you very much for giving us the time. We encourage all of you to, if you've got someone you love who's breastfeeding or infant feeding in your family and in your life, to just ask them how they're doing and let them know they're doing okay. Because a lot of times just that acknowledgement is a huge, huge shift in someone's life. So, thank you.
I'm not a public speaker, but I'll add a little something. So my name is Kim Schott. I'm a registered dietitian, a certified lactation educator, and the director for the eCenter WIC program here in Lake County. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and standing up in support of something that's very important. Board of Supervisors, thank you, and my executive committee and Breastfeeding Coalition for putting this together. Not only does recognizing and accepting breastfeeding as a form of feeding uplift it, but celebrating it, I think also empowers families to know that they have choices to make informed decisions. So thank you everybody for lifting up the mission of WIC, which is to not only support it, but also celebrate it.
Anyone from the board?
Thank you for your work.
Supervisors.
I just want to add something. Sometimes I'm at first five, not always there. I'm the alternate. But I appreciate everybody who does work for this. I think creating comfort in a space that unfortunately socially we've created discomforts that shouldn't be there. But also want to appreciate somebody who's missing. I'm glad I couldn't find you, Hannah, when you were in the audience. But Samantha Bond does a lot of great work, and I just want to put her up on a pedestal a little bit and just say I'm thankful for her work in working with the coalition and working with First Five. This is definitely one of her passions and one of her priorities as well.
I'd like to say that it's definitely a challenge, especially when you're a working mother. So, the pumping and all of that, and we do have an infant that was born in June. So we have one in our family, not me, my daughter. So, but I think that it is really important that the young mothers and the mothers feel comfortable being able to, nurse their own kids and give them the natural milk. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
So important. Thank you for your work. I'll open it up for a public comment. Anybody on Zoom? Oh, yeah, we do. Sorry, I couldn't see you.
Hi, Elaine Brown. I didn't hear you mention you have an office on Main Street. That's how I found out about you. I walked in one time and talked to some of the people there. So I know when I walk Main Street, I see it's a very beautiful place. And that's a place where people can go, right, to get their support right there on Main Street.
Yeah, Motherwise, not the coalition, but Motherwise. Yes. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
All right. Not seeing any other public comment. And none on Zoom. Susan?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I want to share with the board and the community that the County of Lake has recently installed a breastfeeding pod on the second floor of the courthouse.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Sam, I think we're ready for a picture. Thank you so much.
Everybody laughed when I said not me.
All
Little
right.
caveat.
Next item, 6.5. I'm really excited about this one. consideration of presentation of community development, Cal Recycle illegal disposal grant activities and results. Director Maria Turner, Shannon Walker Smith, and I see we have Damian Marks. Oh, and we have Marcus Beltramo.
We have been excited to bring this to the board too. Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. My only role here today is to take all this credit. But I'm going to pass it off to the team that actually did the work and made a huge difference in our communities, Deputy Administrator Shannon Walker-Smith.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present an update on a grant that we received and started on July 1 of 2025, right? No, 24. July of 24, we started this project. It's a grant through Cal Recycle, and it's the illegal disposal grant. And as part of this project, we put together a grant proposal that was a combination of property abatements around the county, looking at prevention measures to prevent future illegal dumping, some public awareness campaigning and public education, and then these free dump days, which we have completed and have some data to share with you today. That was the grant overview. So as part of this project, we proposed 50 properties to be cleaned up around the county. And we planned to clean up those properties in kind of a circular fashion, starting in Nice and working our way kind of around the county. We're a year into this 2-year grant, so we're about halfway completed. And to date, we have performed 12 of the abatements that we on identified properties. And then we have been able to get another 18 properties to self-abate. And that has been due to the work of our code enforcement officers, who mostly the Copter program officers, who worked very diligently in Nice, Lucerne, and Clear Lake Oaks with property owners to encourage self-abatement. And we currently have another 18 properties from the grant that were identified pending abatements, some of which will be self-abatement and some will be abatements that we perform. You can see in this photograph one of the signs that was placed after a property was cleaned up. This is before and after. This is a site in Nice, a couple of photos of it, and then a photo after it's been cleaned with our sign in the photograph. And then this is a photograph of one of the free dump days. So the efforts to encourage property owners to self-abate accumulated trash and blight from their properties included a combination of outreach and assistance. So we created a document to hand out to property owners, letting them know about the free dump days and encouraging them to self-abate. We also assisted many property owners, especially the elderly and disabled, through a crew of volunteers, a little bit different group each of the dump days. In addition to having the dump day set up, we had volunteers out in the community assisting folks to load up their trash and bring it to the dump day. So we provided that assistance through a network of volunteers. Here's a really good photograph of one of our dump days set up. It took us a little bit of time to like really get things locked in to the best possible layout for a dump day, but we just got consecutively better over time. And you can see in the top sign, we had a banner printed on our final dump day that showed our success advertising it to the community. What we did not do is do a lot of outreach ahead of dump days. We did not want to encourage people to hold on to their trash. So we mostly were just out in the communities that the dump days were going to be held in the week or 2 weeks ahead of the dump day, letting specific property owners know. And word got out a bit, and we didn't mind that word of mouth, but we purposefully didn't advertise these dump days. We wanted them to be really grassroots and community driven. So I'm trying to see where I'm at. We held 6 dump days in 3 cities over the spring. In Nice, we were at the Nice Fire Department on March 22nd and March 29th. In Lucerne, we were at the castle on April 26th and May 3rd. And in Clear Lakes Oaks, we were able to use the Moose Lodge facility on May 31st and June 7th. In those 6 days, which we were typically open from 8 in the morning and trying to wrap up by about 1 p.m., 2 p.m. In those 6 events, we were able to collect 1,377,460 pounds of waste, which blew us out of the water. We predicted that we might collect about 500,000. As the days were accumulating, we could see that we were going to far exceed that. And pretty early on, we had that banner printed that said we were going to collect 1 million pounds of trash because we could see the writing on the wall. For those free dump days, we contracted with 360 Hauling, and I want to thank Pascal, who's in the audience today. We did that in collaboration with Public Services and CNS Waste, and in conjunction with the franchise hauling agreement, made sure that we were meeting all of the requirements of that. Oh, what did I do? It like zoomed in.
Hit escape.
Yeah.
Escape.
Press escape.
Oh, there we go. Thanks, Bruno. So we feel that we had a very effective delivery method for getting this information out in the community. On the left-hand side, you can see the kind of flyer that we put out to property owners who we wanted to encourage to self-abate. We did that with help. We also had an additional flyer that was created by the AmeriCorps CERC team, who was another one of our volunteer groups. And between those, we distributed about 500 flyers to the community. And then just before events, we posted on our Facebook page. And some of this is repeat. The copter officers identified properties that self-abated was 28. Other properties that we had identified in the grant, which we also got to self-abate, was 32. So that's a total of 60 properties that we did not have to abate through code enforcement. Damien did a little bit of the working up of the math here to give you guys an idea about how much money that saved the county. So just based on staff time for abatements, the 60 self-abatements would equate to about $22,000 in just staff time in code enforcement, going through the process to abate these properties. And then additionally, there's that stat again, the 1.3 million pounds of trash we collected. And going back to the 60 properties that self-abated. I thought there was another slide that was about the abatement. Maybe it's still coming. So our final takeaways, we collected a lot of trash, 60 properties that self-abated, the 6 dump days, and members of the public. We have a slide about members of the public and some of the things that got said and told to us verbally, and then also on the back side of that form that we put out, we asked people to say a little something about how the self-abatement or this opportunity to self-abate helped them. And the volunteers made a huge difference. I think I want to go back. Well, I just have it on the slide here. So in addition to the $22,000 in staff cost, abatements can cost $1,000 to $10,000 each. And so if we average that and we talk about the 60 properties that self-abated, that saved the county between $66,000 and $110,000 plus the staff time. So we have an estimated savings of about $122,000 in staff cost and abatement cost that was saved due to the free dump days. And on the last slide, next steps, we have an additional 18 properties that we're still planning to abate or work with the property owners to self-abate. There may be, once we take self-abated properties off of our grant list, we can add new properties. So we're currently looking at how many new properties we might be able to add. We are looking at the possibility of a couple more free dump days in year 2 to be held in South County. And we'll continue with public education and outreach on the negative effects of illegal dumping for our community. And we would like to thank our partners, 360 Junk Hauling, of course, our code enforcement team, but also there were other county staff that volunteered, staff from Buildings and Grounds and Public Works. Also were out helping both community members and at the free dump day events. Earth and Worth both participated in getting the word out and assisting with a list of folks that needed help in the community to self-abate. The AmeriCorps Cirque team was involved. Swim, the Lake County Crushers football team, which was organized by Worth, I believe, or Earth, and of course EJ. And thanking the Nice Fire Station, Lucerne Castle, and Clear Lake Moose Lodge for their support in offering up their spaces to us at no cost. And I'd be happy to take questions.
Thank you for that. I just, and that's a common thing that people will have an issue with is the advance notice of it, but you're right, absolutely right. Every other dump day that we've done, people store it, and that's been the biggest complaint when it comes to previous dump days. When I first started, was when they did it in the past decades, people would store their garbage and bring it in, people that were contractors and whatnot. So I think it was strategically done properly. I appreciate that. I think first off, everything that you've done with this Cal Recycle grant, when Worth was bringing up the Pile Road and they you presented that you were going for this grant, it's just you followed through on it. You did it. I know that a lot of times the citizens don't get to see that, and so this is just a really tangible process that took place. I always think about the other aspect, and there's dumping in the hills and dumping. I know that we talked about abatement and those types of fundings, that type of funding, but also having to contract with someone to go in the hills and pick up that garbage that's plastic that's all brittle and this and that. So there's that. And I have a couple of other people that have reached out to me about the Lucerne Hills, in that they've seen the Cal Recycle sign up there, and they said for like the last month they haven't seen anything dumped. Knock on wood. But that's just an example of how great this is. So I thank you all for that. I thank you all for the work you've done, seeing you out there every time, just ready to go, and people were they're really happy. All that weight, when you think about the weight lifted out of those towns, and then future towns that are going to deal with this as well. So again, kudos to you for all the work you did. You listened to the public, and that's all we can ask. So thank you again.
I should say this was a true team effort. Damian Marks, our staff services analyst, was the lead on setting up and organizing the dump days. He did a fantastic job. Marcus was at every dump day greeting the public, kind of our front man. Joey has been, Norman Valdez, Joey has been responsible for all of the abatements and has done a fantastic job with that. In addition, I believe every code enforcement officer on our team participated in at least one dump day. So it has been a true team effort.
And Pascal, again, thank you. I seen you after Nice the first time and was really just kind of figuring this out there late, trying to get everything cleaned up so you weren't leaving a mess. That was really cool. A lot of times that you just gotta wait till the next day, but you had your guys stay. They did a lot of work. They made every effort to try to make the citizens have enough time and room to dump, and so that was really great. So I just wanted to throw that out to you too, Pascal. Anybody else? Go ahead, Supervisor. I didn't see it. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you for this. It's a large amount of trash that you won't have to deal with. Did you say 8,000 to 10,000 on average?
No, 1,000 to 10,000 is how much abatements cost us, depending on how much there is to take.
So I still, and I apologize, but I still would like to correct you. 10,000 times 60 is 600,000 potentially.
Well, we went with an average.
Well, that's still, you don't know. It could be on the high end. I mean, that's a lot of trash that you collect, and I think we need to look at the biggest amount that we potentially save. So you're looking at $622,000 potentially saved to focus on the other things that are still there. And so I think that we need to look at the greatest benefit that we got from that, and not the average, not the lowest, and that benefit is huge. The other part is, I don't know when we last got a Cal Recycle grant, and I'm thankful that we finally got started on that. I don't know if it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but it's been too long. I know that my experience with the city of Clear Lake, they get those at least maybe every 2 years, every year, but they're always trying, and they're getting red tagged homes demolished, they're getting properties abated. And the fact that we're doing the same thing now and with the results like this is amazing. And I know you're not done with that. You have abatements that are still coming up. You also have, we've had a conversation with Chair Crandall as well. You have prevention dollars as well to try and prevent some of these things. All of the above, I think, is just a winning combination, and appreciate what you've done. And I apologize, I took advantage of the free dump day. I did come to Clear Lake Oaks to bring a load. But thank you.
It was a very small load.
Anybody else? I will say too that Maria, I just want to. I know that you said you're giving the floor to your staff, but just the fact that you allowed your staff to carry this through and do what they needed to do, so you can focus on things. That's another leadership skill. So just allowing them to take the ball and run with it. That's I have to give you kudos for that too, because they did a really wonderful job just as a team moving forward. So.
I appreciate that. It's very easy when you have a rock star team to let them go and do their magic, and just I was amazed. Both of the effort on our team side, the way they brought in volunteers, and the way that they reached out directly to the community to bring in the property owners who have been identified, as code violation or violators, was just wonderful. Additionally, if I could add something, this activity resonates with the Lake County 2050 General Plan update, in that the countywide surveys that we did initially to identify key issues showed around the lake a strong desire both for enforcement of the codes as well as government coming alongside our residents and assisting those who needed help to come into compliance. So this is when we do the general plan and we cover those community priorities, I mean, we should just post a picture of what happened here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the amnesty aspect of it too. I remember talking about how some of the folks that had violations with their red tags or something of the like violations, and just giving them the opportunity, saying, hey, you have this opportunity to clean up. If we have to come and abate, it's gonna be worse, and they took advantage of it. So just, that's good thinking as well, so, yeah. Any other comments? Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, my one last thing that somehow I missed on our presentation. We did take in over 1,000 tires. We took in over 500 mattresses. Kind of tie that back down to us using Pascal and being grateful for his services. Those are things we wouldn't have been able to do without him, with the massive amount of trailers and crew that he brought out to be able to haul that stuff away. Big thanks to all of his crew as well, who were there from 7 in the morning till sometimes 7 at night. We had 100-degree temperatures in the Oaks. We had rain in Lucerne. They never stopped, so I want to thank them. I also want to thank you, Supervisor Crandall, because for almost every single one of them, you were out there with Vance. Listen, your guys collecting from people.
That's right, Vance. Vance Ricks, if you're listening, thank you as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you
Tried
very
to
much.
get him to come down, but he wouldn't come.
And everybody from the community who volunteered. We had people who came and brought their stuff and then went out and collected from neighbors. All the code officers who made so many trips. Sometimes I don't even know how they filled their trucks as fast as they did. So I just wanted to thank everybody who went out there and went above and beyond for this.
Awesome. All right. If there's not anything else, I'll open it up for public comment, if there's anyone that would like to come up.
Hi, Elaine Brown. Wow, I applaud what you're doing so much because we want to keep this place beautiful. So if there's grants available, first of all, I just want clarity in case someone else is listening and has the same questions. If it's in Eddie's community, but someone else can come from another community and bring their stuff, is that correct? Are you able to cross communities with these different, where they're held?
We did our outreach to specific communities, but we didn't check IDs. So,
Okay, this is-
we want all the garbage in Lake County to be cleaned up. So we weren't trying to limit people who wanted to put the effort into loading up and bringing their items, but we did our outreach in the community that the dump days were going to be in. And if it traveled word of mouth, then it did, and that was fine.
Great. And were there, in that community, like say Lucerne, were there pickup trucks that would go to the homes and bring the stuff out for them? Oh, that's great. They would do that. Okay, that's wonderful. And just, I don't know, in the future, if there's any like extra grant monies that if they're available and come available for your the people that have the different garbage organizations around the county, if they were been given like grant money to be able to do this, where like, I know in Fresno, I mentioned it before, Fresno, they just have 2 days in a community in the neighborhood, even nice neighborhoods, they just dump everything in the streets. So like if you're, say you're disabled in a community and you can't like get out, you just start 1 week you can dump everything in front of your house. And maybe if the neighbor doesn't have garbage service, they can put theirs in yours. And that way you get a bunch of garbage out a couple of times a year. Because like you said, you don't want people keeping their garbage. So it's just an opportunity maybe where you have a massive amount in just one neighborhood twice a year where they can put it out and it gets taken out. It's a lot of, I don't know how they do it in Fresno, but it was cool. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, any other public comment? Well, I'll bring it back to the board and close public comment. Again, thank you so much for this presentation and for all the work you've done. It's awesome. And I can't wait to see what you have in store for the rest of the county as well. You guys are going to really love it. It's going to be awesome. The community comes together really well. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will go ahead and take a 5-minute break and come back at 10. All right, welcome back from our break. Looks like we are going to take up 6.6, consideration of resolution approving resolution number 2025-5 submitted by North Shore Fire Protection District and making findings and requesting the County of Lake to implement fire mitigation fees with the automatic inflation pursuant to the Lake County Fire Mitigation Fee Ordinance, fiscal year 25-26. This item is going to be pulled for a future date. So I think there's some, they're going to have to readjust some things in that. So in the meantime, for the board, if there's anyone from the board that'd like to speak on this, or no?
No, I just thought that was a big increase,
Mhm.
more than double.
Okay. Well, they're going to, go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
If I may, just for the clarification,
Yeah.
and I know that CAO Parker wanted to say something as well. The big increase was done in March or April or May of last year in 2024. This one is supposed to be a 1.6166% increase, kind of like a CPI increase, but it's based on building cost increases. So there are a lot of documents, and if you read the original that was approved in 2024, that was a big increase where it almost doubled.
Okay,
That was
yeah.
approved and moved forward with. This one is that small incremental CPI-like increase.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Just
Yeah,
wanted
I
to-
saw the 2.2.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify.
Thank you.
CAO Parker.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Johanna, could you get us a date, a future date and time certain, please?
There's so many different attachments.
Yes. I did read them. I don't know how I missed that. I saw the little increments up.
Let's try for the 19th in the afternoon.
All right.
Yeah, she's looking it up.
Perfect. At 1 p.m. All right, I will open it up for public comment. Is there anyone in the chambers or on Zoom? All right, I'll bring it back to the board. Do we need to take action on this?
Mr. Chair, I move to continue this public hearing to August 19th at 1 p.m.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Let's see, we're at 10:09. Okay, we can move on to our 6.7. Consideration of presentation on the UC Cooperative Extension Diversified Agriculture Program, UC Extension. Director Matthew Barnes. All right.
Back up to the backup.
Morning, Chair Crandall, Board. Matthew Barnes, Area Director, UC Cooperative Extension. And while they get that started, it's my honor to come up and introduce Dr. Clebson Gosalves, Diversified Agriculture Advisor here in Lake County since 2022. His educational background is Bachelor of Science degree in agronomy, Master's and PhD agronomy sciences, and an additional master's degree in crop and soil science from Auburn University. Clebson's extensive experience and knowledge of managing crops, horticulture, turfgrass, and weeds in a wide range of environments has really served him well in serving the Lake County grower community since 2022. So with that, I'll turn it over to Clebson.
All right. Thank you, Matthew. It's a great honor to be here for my first time on this house. So again, my name is Clebson Gonçalves. I'm from Brazil. I live in US for 7 years. I spent 3 years in Alabama in Auburn University, 2 years in Virginia, working as a postdoc in Virginia Tech before I came here. It's already 3 years. I'm California in Lake County. Yes, I'm a diversified agriculture advisor, and I cover Lake and Mendocino County. So my position, it's maybe you guys ask you what is a diversified agri. You can actually translate for a specialty crop advisor, and basically I'm replacing the previous advisor, Rachel Elke. Rachel, probably you guys know Rachel well. She was a pomology advisor, cover primary pears and walnuts. In my case, when Rachel decided to retire, she was the one designing my position because she understood that only a pomology advisor will not satisfy the country, like this both counties anymore, because the pears and walnut industry decline on the area, and there is a need for not other crops. What would be next? What would be the next crop for those regions? And that's why she designed my position to be more broadly to look for other options that would be suitable for Lake and Mendocino County. And because being a pomology advisor, again, she was working primarily with walnuts and pear growers and all the small farm, like diversified, like vegetable growers, they was never served before. And she was like thinking that for this new position should be covered as small farmer as well. And one of the first responsibility in my position was create a needs assessment to meet my clientele and learn what the needs are, what challenge they have on the area, and how can I better serve my region. And I could spend like hours just my needs assessment to show all the challenge we have in the area, but I put only one single slide here where show who my clientele is. And one of the interesting thing is that more than 40% of my clientele never received UC Cooperation Extension support before. And the 58% was more like pear and walnut grower, but was very motivated to me to work with those clientele that never receive UC Cooperation Extension support. So how I been engaged with my clientele, again, like we do a lot of farm visit. I really like to spend time to visit farm property, to talk direct with the growers, to see what they are doing and what challenge they have and what they are looking for to increase the farm profitability. And also I work design events based in my needs assessment. For example, workshop, field days, webinars. For example, the pear and walnut meetings that we have, normally it's something that I carry from my previous advisor. Rachel, she was already working for those two groups, but I've been working and design meetings and workshop for the organic small farm, variable pass management, because this is one of the big challenges I identify in my needs assessment. Pruning, a lot of small farm, they start like a small orchard, but they after some point they start getting challenges to manage. And like pruning is one of the big questions I have in general pomology, but also in olive trees, because I seen like an increase in people interested in olive orchard in the area. I've been also organized a few days like for olive and grape in collaboration with the viniculture advisor, pear and grape field days, workshop more focused in drought resilience as well, and work with the master garden program, design classes and workshop for the homeowners in the area as well. So my program is research and extension, and on the research side, being a diversified, I've been, and based on my needs assessment, I've been working in different areas. I forgot to mention at the beginning, I'm a weed scientist by training, and my needs assessment showed that weed management is one of the big challenges that we have, primarily in organic crop system, because we do not have a lot of management strategy. And primary small farm, what they do manual weed control. Organic orchard, they mow the area. There is not a lot of management strategy available. And a big portion of my program is focusing on weed management. For example, try identify and understand how organic herbicide work, how they can be implemented in the field. And I also work with low input strategy. For example, walnut growers, in a time like now, they are not making money out of the orchard. How they can reduce chemicals and maybe use the leaves as a strategy to control the weeds. There is a lot of chemistry behind they use the leaf. They have some allelopac effect to suppress weed that I'm not gonna go deep on, but also there is a physical effect by use the leaf you can suppress weed. I also work with conventional growers. Primarily try design better herbicide program to have a long-term control of weeds on the field and reduce crop residue. Because if you spray very close to harvest, you might end up have residue on your crop, and by prolongate your window between your last application and the harvest, you minimize the risk to have herbicide residue in your crop. And I've been working with growers and with the California Pear Board to try design better herbicide program for conventional growers. So this part I really love work with emerged technology. I've been working before, and I felt that was very important to continue work with emerged technology. Even a lot of those technology are extremely expensive right now, but I as a scientist, I feel that now is the time to have data and show if they work or not on the field. For example, I work with one company that's called Verdante Robotic, where they doing hyper-precise spray technology with pesticide. This technology, it's not a new technology. I know UC Davis Specialist has been working on that technology for the past 20 years, but now we actually are able to implement on the field because of the AI. Before we knew how the technology worked, but we was not able to implement because we don't have the technology to make work in the field. Right now with the AI and with computer vision, we are actually able to go in, for example, in an annual crop and identify the crop. For example, if you work with tomato, the machine are able to identify the tomato and also identify the weeds, and they're gonna spray the product only on the weed without zero impact, zero product on the crop. And the more interesting now, because the technology we able to identify both, the company are moving forward to have, for example, 2 tanks on the machine, where one tank you're gonna use with fertilizer and one with herbicide. Basically, the machine is gonna identify the crop and spray the fertilizer, or if you use a fungicide or insecticide, you're gonna do directly on the crop, and herbicide only on the weeds. You kind of you save a lot of money in a single pass. You're gonna feed the plant and kill the weed, and that actually is a very interesting technology. Again, it is a very expensive technology. I don't see this available for a small farm right now, but it is the time to do research and show how those technology is effective in the field. And in my case, I have a small prototype. I don't have the big machine, as you guys see there. I have a small one in my lab where I do manual application. You see, on the top, I have a computer where we see the crop and the weeds, and we spray directly on the weed only. And also, I'm doing some droning work. I work in my previous work with droning a lot. And now we have the opportunity to do some biological pest control in orchard on this case, we use like stereo insect. Basically, the insect like pass through some radiation and no longer have eggs viable, and they become stereo. And we release this insect on the orchard, and they're gonna mate with the natural insect, and they're not gonna have the next generation. And we are doing this work using drone to release because we are able to save on label. And for this work with stereo insect is a collaboration with USDA and other UC pharma device, in this case like the UC IPN pharma device syndicrom. So integrate pest management. I also been working in collaboration with other UC specialists and other pharma devices, for example, to control of breast cancer, dieback canker disease in pear orchard. This is a collaboration with Keith's Escalent lab in UC Davis. This is a problem we have in orchard here. We've been see this disease increase in old orchard, and we've been trying to design better fungicide program. First, we was try identify the pathogen that caused the disease, and now we are moving for better program to reduce the infestation in orchard. So the flat hair borer is a new pest. Probably you guys have seen on news. Basically, essential the flat hair borer is when you call like borer insect, they normally attack wood. They will never attack fruit. They have to go inside the plant trunk and build like a chamber and leave it there and complete the cycle. We was not expect insect like on this family actually to attack a fruit, and for some reason 3 years ago we start to see this insect attack pear fruits. In the beginning we was just think, oh, maybe it's just like a confused female that attack the fruit, but we was expect the insect would not gonna survive because that pest take like at least 6 months inside the wood to complete the cycle. And when we think in a pear fruit, they're gonna fall on the ground if not harvested, and they're gonna rot in a couple months. But for somehow actually the insect is able to build like a chamber, and the insect is able to survive inside the pear. And as you guys can see on this picture, we have like the larvae and the adult actually emerge from a pear. The pear kind of like dry, and the insect is able to complete the cycle. And right now we already identify the insect. On the beginning we was in complete dark. We was try identify the insect. Now we know it's called Pacific flat hair borer. Actually it's native from the area, it's not an invasion, and that's a good thing. Now we try understand what's happening, why this insect is changing behavior, and why they decide attack the fruit now. And we've been like conduct more study. We try to look if there is some DNA, some change on the DNA, but we still don't have the answer. We are still moving for with those study.
But it's question.
Yeah, I just have a question about this. So is it still attacking wood, or is it like just moved over to fruit totally?
No, they essentially attack wood.
They're doing both now, and now they're expanding to
yeah.
also doing the pears?
Yeah, we saw only in pear right now. We never actually was never reported so ever wood-wise. That type of that family of insect attack fruit. They are essential wood host. And just to have a idea, on this family we have around 15,000 insects, and was never reported so ever one insect attack a fruit, because it does not make sense. Initial, as I mentioned, we was expect they will not survive on the fruit because the fruit's gonna rot. They have to stay for long than that to complete the cycle. This is a total new thing for us, and actually I'm not an entomologist, I'm a weed scientist, but the advisor I work with, she's an entomologist, and she talk with other in conference, other specialists in entomology, and that thing kind of like blows their mind, because nobody on with an entomology expertise would expect that change in behavior. It's something completely new.
Wow.
But the good thing right now, we don't see the population increase. Looks like actually, at least we hope that's not gonna reach economical level, but we still monitor to see if there has been moved for other orchard. Right now, it's very concentrated in a few places in Lake County, primarily like close to the Big Valley area. And primarily seen in organic orchard. Basically, we believe that whatever grower has been sprayed to control other insect, also is being controlled that one, like indirectly. It's primary right now in organic orchard. But we keep looking to see if the population is gonna increase or not. So water conservation, I've been doing some collaboration with, this is a grant from USDA in collaboration with a UC Davis specialist. Basically, this trial we have, this trial set in 10 different counties, and I'm responsible for Lake County, where we assess the irrigation managed in Walnut, use like autonomous divisor, because it is a lot of labor consumed. Use the pressure chamber. I don't know if you guys heard about pressure chamber. Is one of the technique growers use to schedule the irrigation. Actually, I would say like a lot of growers use the pressure chamber to schedule irrigation. That's very accurate. But a lot of the small farm, they only use the gut feelers. They just like look on the trees and say, yeah, it's time to irrigate. And that's kind of like the best way to do. And with this divisor, actually, it's like a sensor that you put directly on the trunk of the plant, on the branch of the plant, and that thing collect data like through the whole cycle and send directly on the computer. Like you actually are able to schedule irrigation without leaving your office. And we compare, like right now we still on phase on compare. We have the divisor on the plant, and we doing like pressure chamber to compare to see if the plant stress keep the same like with both divisor. And again, that kind of technology is still not cheap and accessible for a small farm, but it is, I see it as a future to move for, as water is a big concern, and we don't want to irrigate like only based on the gut feeler, and because you might over irrigate or put your crop under stress. We want the grower have the best potential of the crop. So rootstock and variety selection. I've been running some trials with pear rootstock. Maybe you guys ask me why I'm doing rootstock trials, because nobody has been plant a new orchard. Right, but I believe it's still important because we still have a lot of growers on the area, and a lot of the orchard they are old, more than 50 years, and they lose plant every single year, and they have to replant. They are not removing, and they are not start a new block, but they have to replant the plant that they lost, that died for some reason, and to do that, we have, and those plants, when they replant, actually they have a lot of competition because the new plant have to compete with the mature orchard. And you have to have like rootstock that's very vigorous to overcome the old canopy and actually be productive in few years. And we've been doing like some rootstock trial to address those issues and show to the growers which the rootstock is more viable to interplant, I would say, like in a mature orchard. And last, we've been like discussing like some agave variety trials for the area. On the past, I would say on the past 2 years, I got a lot of growers in my office asking about agave. Probably if you guys drive in California, you're gonna see a lot of new agave plantation. It's kind of like a new crop that a lot of farmers has been so interested in, because it's you can grow agave in a dry farm situation. They require minimal water, and yeah, that's been like that is a lot of demand in California right now. It's a lot of potential. Right now, who start like the people that start like 10 years ago, they are making good money. We don't know if everybody start planting agave, how the market is gonna looks like in 10 years. Because it's the crop will be ready to harvest around like 6 to 8 years, basically. But again, there's a lot of farms interested in agave. You guys see like the grape industry is not very good right now. There's a lot of grape fields being removed, and I got a lot of questions about agave variety, which variety would be suitable for Lake County, and I don't have the answer. And I say, hey, I think the best way to have an answer is do some trials, like do a variety trial to see what's working in the area, and working collaboration with the tribals and math. We put a grant together where we request some grants for agave variety trials, and if passed, we're gonna have one trials maybe start late this year or early next year, and that trial, if approved, is going to be running in tribal land in Middletown Rancheria area. And I'm very excited about because I don't have a lot of knowledge in agave, but definitely I'm eager to learn more. And right now, I've been start work with some UC A&R advisors and specialists, and we start like build a work group through California. Because there is other specialists more like in San Diego area, Ventura area that's already have agave plantation. They've been working for longer than I, and we start build like a work group and start have workshop to everybody can learn together about agave to better serve the clientele, and for my case to serve like Lake County clientele. And I hope like in a few years, if we move forward with this trial, we have a better understand about agave and which variety would be suitable for the area. So again, this is my last slide. Is just like to show as a diversified agriculture advisor, I'll not be able to do a lot of stuff by myself, and I've been, since my day one, I've been trying to establish a lot of collaboration with local organization, also statewide and nationwide organization. For example, Lake County RCD, Farm Builder, I work very closely with Farm Builder like NRCS, CAFE, DPR, CDFA, that has funded a lot of my trials. And I also work with industry, like the California Walnut Board and Pear Board, and other private organization that has been very supportable for my program. Yeah, that's my last slide. I just feel so blessed to be on this place. I really love, and I'd say it's a beautiful place to grow a family. And yeah, I thank you, God, for all the blessings in my life. I will love this country. And thank you all.
Well, thank you for that. Are there any questions from Supervisor Pyska?
Just some comments. Dr. Gonzalez and Matt, thank you for bringing this. This is one of the things that we've been hoping that we could do more, is have a better understanding of the UCCE programs and our advisors that are here locally and the work that you're doing. So I'm really grateful for this presentation. I'm looking forward to more. And thanks for the info on the flathead borer, because I've been hearing it and I never quite understood what was going on with that transition. So thank you for helping me understand that better. I really appreciate that.
Supervisor Owen?
I was wondering, I noticed like when the almonds were really flooding the market, they started flavoring them, and you could buy your different flavors, and that kind of kept that almond market alive. I had went to the Ag Adventure, and it looks like they might be starting to do a little bit with the walnuts to keep that industry alive. With the grapes, are there possibly any other uses for the grape juice? You kind of go in a different avenue to help keep the the wine industry alive, but doing other things with it. Is that something that you guys look into for other markets?
Well, I would say that's more like a viniculture advisor question. I would say that it's a lot of marketing for grapes. And I don't think the grape industries never die. It's more like a cycle. They might, maybe the consumer, they may change in flavor. They looks like that some variety that's more desirable now that was not in the past. And for example, like the red wine, it's less desirable now. Looks like people is more look for white wine and things like that. And for and again, like you see, like a lot of the orchard has been the vineyard has been removed, but when you look close, they are old varieties. And it's kind of like sometimes it's a cycle, and this is happened the same for the walnuts. A lot of the walnut orchard that has been removed is old variety that's fall in flavor. People don't like more. They like the new variety that's more like it's not very dark. It's more like light.
Chandler.
Chandler, like more soft, big shelled and things like that. And it's more like a cycle. And I think like for for both for the walnuts and grape industry, it's they go down, but they're gonna come back soon. And talk with growers. Even like I'm not a viniculture advisor. I spoke a lot of vineyard growers, and they say, yeah, this is just a cycle, and they probably gonna be ready to replant some block they removed this year in probably like 2, 3, or 4 years.
Okay.
And for the walnuts, as you mentioned, yes, the walnut board, they've been working on the marketing on the past few years to build the market. Because for the walnuts, they always say the same thing. Walnuts always had like a market for, like the fresh walnut. And they never actually try build this market to add like flavor and things. They was just sell like big bags of walnut. But right now they start understood that they have to have different products, not only the fresh walnut. They have like to have flavor, like walnuts, like with walnut bars or like with chocolate and things like small bags like for kids take for school and things like that. Things that we probably you guys never seen before. You probably like send like your kid to school and you don't give like a little bag of walnut. And they start like move for that direction and actually educate people actually how to preserve the walnut, because a lot of people don't know how to store it. Because if you buy like a giant bag, in a couple months they're gonna start rents, and they start like build this education thing and teach people how to store it properly, and you can have walnut, good quality walnut through the whole year.
And I think with the, just getting the creativity going, and I think they're working with Diamond a little bit to get some out, and educating on the amount of omega-3s that are in the walnuts would be huge.
Yeah, because it's one of the most healthy nuts available, but people just don't know because they just use for bakeries and things, and now they try like stimulate, like teach people how to use more fresh.
Yes.
And like have like a little bag every day and things like that.
Thank you.
Supervisor Sabatier.
Dr. Gonsalves, I appreciated you when I first met you at I think it was Ag Venture that you and I met over at I think it was the Tallman Hotel. But really appreciate what you bring to the UC Extension. I do have, one of the things that I appreciate is we're dealing with changes in the climate, and you're looking at what works. And hopefully it's what works tomorrow rather than just today, because things are changing so fast. But that makes that much more difficult. I've been hearing about the agave. I'm excited about the potential, and would love to see more diversification within the farms. We see a lot of grapes. It would be nice when markets get hit that it doesn't hit us as hard when we have more diversification in our farmland. And so I agree that there is a cycle, but unfortunately some people might get hurt with that cycle, and some people might be able to hold on and be able to continue through it. Is there, you talked about some of the technologies, which is really interesting. I love the whole AI thing and being able to kind of do a variety of things through one pass. Is there a potential for like a UC Extension toolkit closet that can be shared with our local farmers, so that at least they can get some experience with it, not use every single year, every single day, because that wouldn't be shareable and that wouldn't work for your thing. And I know you have you said you have like a small version of it, but would it be possible to ever have such a thing at the UC Extension? Is that even allowed at the UC Extension? Just kind of thinking outside of how we can get our farmers to access those types of things, and then after you use it, it might be one of those things that you don't want to come back. Once you start using a smartphone, you don't go back to the flip phone, right? Like, it's just, if it's technology that helps the farmer be successful with their crop, that maybe they would start investing in those things as well once they better understand it. Is that a possibility?
Well, I believe that is a possibility, but probably you guys understand, for example, for this kind of technology, the company, they invest ton of money. And this, I would say, like for general companies, they invest ton of money in a product. After they got the product, they put the price very high until actually all the companies start like design technology similar. They gonna, I believe they're gonna try to get as much money as possible. That's why the price is skyrocket right now for that kind of technology, because it's only one company in the world that have that technology. But I believe as we move forward and we have more other companies start like create technology similar, I would expect the price is gonna drop. And like for a small version, I already like thinking about that, to be honest, but in terms of share, for example, we're gonna have one machine to share. I don't think it would be a possibility, because it's a very sensitive time. Like that technology, they target within the very early stage, and pretty much everybody's gonna need the machine in the same time. That's kind of would be the big challenge. You cannot like, oh, I'm gonna need the machine, and you put your name on the list like for 30 days. When you get the machine, your weeds is gonna be big. The technology is not gonna be viable anymore. And I think that's like the big challenge for that kind of technology. But we hope, like, we've been like talking with the company, they see like the future, like instead to have like the big machine that cover like multiple beds in the field, have like a small machine in a little platform. Probably you guys have seen like a small platform. It's a robotic platform that you can put anything on the top. They call Little Amigo, like from Farm MG. They have like a little remote platform that you can you buy like a clean platform, and you can put whatever you want. Like if you want to put like I don't know, I don't have no, but it's like a just like 4-wheel platform. You can put like in this case put the device in on the top. That could be more affordable. And actually, the company they already have 2 prototype on that platform that I mentioned. I don't put on the pictures, but I have seen the machine, but it's just not available for consumer, because probably they're gonna hold a little one to release probably like in 5-10 years after they have like sell like have like a lot of the big machine available for the big growers and things like that. I would expect they're gonna hold until the price start dropping. But it is the future, I would say. I got a lot of questions why I'm working for that thing, because right now I would say it's not available, this technology for the small farm. But again, it's the future. We have to be up to date and do collaboration with company and see what's available on the market. Otherwise, we're gonna be behind.
Vice Chair Rasmussen.
Thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. I appreciate all the work that's being done, and also educating us on that, because agriculture is such a huge part of our economy, and its success is critical to our future. And I think we're fortunate to have somebody with your education and experience here helping us do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
I'll open it up for public comment. If there's anyone that would like to come up and talk about this presentation.
Hi, Elaine Brown. Thank you so much. I just would like to comment on herbicides and their safety level. About 5 years ago, I heard that 40 to 50 billion with a B birds are missing from North America. 40 to 50 billion birds. And I think it might have to do with herbicides because it kills like the weeds, but then you have puddles out in parking lots and birds are drinking out of those puddles, and the the runoff of these herbicides I think might be killing. And I recently found out Rachel Carson, who wrote a book in 1962 called Silent Spring, was from, it stemmed from Clear Lake, which is an amazing book, Rachel Carson. It's Silent Spring. If we could look into that more before we get into that. And, you were right, like leaves, oak leaves, pine needles. You think about high mountains, you don't see tall leaves in the high mountains, it's pine needles. And also oak leaves, if you can just spread those, it keeps it from having the weeds, natural ways. I know like promotion, I heard from someone that's a longtime pear person that years ago there was some man that promoted pears. That's why we were like top notch. We had all these different warehouses where they actually service the fruit, but we had someone that was definitely on the ground calling New York City, promoting our things. And I know walnuts have a 30-year the grows only last like 30 years, so that's kind of expensive. I know pecans are a big thing in the world market as far as cooking. Black walnuts, they're medicinal with parasite removal, so if we can look into that. I don't know for sure, but I heard agave might be only metabolized by the liver, and for those who have fatty liver disease, agave might not be the sugar you want to go, but someone that's listening would know that better than me, but I'm just putting that out there because there are people listening. I'm almost done here. We need money. And I think Bill Gates Foundation, he's into education, he's into agriculture. Give him a project where he utilizes just the homeopathic, the natural ways. Try that out in Lake County. Someone knows him that's probably listening. See if you can access his monies because he's highly interested in that and he's got the tech element to boot. So that might be an avenue to go to if we maintain control of what we are doing and access and see if he's willing to make that a pet project of his. You might find some resources there. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just a few comments. First on the bird thing, I agree with you. There is many questions, not only bird, but other animals. We know, like, for example, like mountain lions, they are affected for a couple pesticide. And again, it's not only like herbicide. I would say like the right word would say like pesticide because include like insecticide, fungicide, herbicide, whatever. It's all of. But again, we have like the DPR that they have great specialists that deal with that part of toxicological things and again, like any pesticide, they gonna be poised. It's just more like educate people how to use and try be as much safe as possible.
So
because
we need to let the other lady come up if you would. We want to wrap it up real quick. We have another person. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, but and for the funding, definitely that's one of we've been lost a lot of funding. Federal funding the past year, and definitely would be like we have to start look for other options available and work with UC Davis specialists. They normally the one that look for big grants, and we kind of like as a pharma advisor we work with multiple small projects. We kind of like work in collaboration with them, but definitely those are great resources to look for in the future.
All right, thank you. Come on up, Margot.
Bon dia, good day, Mr. Chair, Board, Drs. Barn and Gonzalez. Margot Cambara, Lake County resident. Thank you, Dr. Barnes and Dr. Gonzalez, for your presentation and your work. Dr. Gonzalez, sharing information on agave presents an opportunity for your board to formally direct UCCE to proactively look for alternative crops to wine, grapes, and walnuts. This effort can augment Lake County Food Policy Council's efforts to increase local food production and food security for Lake County. Finally, a suggestion. Gratitude is wonderful and should be celebrated. to amplify UC Cooperative Extension's message, it would be, to amplify the message, it would be very helpful to embrace Lake County's value of inclusion. Acknowledging a specific higher power in material from a state agency such as UCCE diminishes that spirit of inclusion. So something to think about in the future. Obrigada. Thank you.
Tom Lasik, bom dia. Just two questions. The first question is the technology. Do you have areas within Lake County that is currently being demonstrated for farmers to understand the technology and be trained on it? And then the second question is a little bit more specific as a weed specialist for the star thistle problem that we have all over the state. If there's anything you might be able to add to that. Thank you.
If we can, you can answer this, but let's try to keep it brief. We're 22 minutes over. So, but yeah, if you can answer, but whatever else can be talked about after, we can go that route. So go ahead.
Yeah, definitely for the technology, I would love to have more extension activity on the technology to show what we are doing and teacher, have more workshop, to teach people how calibrate and use those technology. Definitely would be great, and I would love to move forward and have more things on the field. And for the invasion things, it's not only star thistle, that's one of my big interest in, to be honest, to be a weed scientist. When I drive around, I see ton of invasion weeds. Star thistle is the one that's spread out everywhere, but we have plenty other species that is in early stage that I would like to do study in the future to try assess where they are and how we can mitigate. One example is pepperweed. I see in a very small site here in Lake County. We do have some place that we have milk thistle that starts spread out. We see the French broom. Or Scott broom, whatever. I think both. I'm not sure which one is, but there is a lot of ones. Definitely, I would love to move forward and have more study on invasion weeds on the area, because it's a big deal for the county.
Thank you. Yeah, no, there's a couple I'd like to follow up on, especially the star thistle. I appreciate that being brought up. Any other public comment on Zoom? All right, I'll close public comment at this time. Thank you so much for this presentation. You're very knowledgeable. Yeah, thank you for explaining a lot of it to us, and we continue to look forward to hearing more and getting some more done here. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right, so we'll move on to our 6.8, continuation from July 15th, 2025 meeting, consideration of an interim urgency ordinance placing a moratorium on the issuance of use permits for commercial cultivation of cannabis within the unincorporated area of the County of Lake. There is a note that says there's a recommendation to continue to a future date and time. Supervisor Owen, this is your item. We'll let you open up.
Actually, I was going to look to Lloyd to help me with that. I don't have a date certain, but I'd like to move it to a date certain. And there's some changes in it that we've made that I felt were pertinent. I had met with, what's his name? Carlos last week. And one of the things that it needs to be taken off is the urgency. So we're kind of reworking it a little bit. So I'm thinking we need to look it over, and then it needs to be noticed. Is that correct?
Yeah. So on that proposal, I did have a discussion with Senior Deputy Carlos Torres on that issue. I sent over a response yesterday to you and members of the staff regarding that specific issue on whether or not it should be made as an urgency ordinance or not. So at this point, with the request being that this item be continued, to a specific date and time, we could still stay on that course under that same caption, and then we can have, staff can have further internal discussions with you on the issue that was raised. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
And, the date and time, we are thinking August 12th.
Yes, August 12th. Johanna, can you find a time for us, please?
Did it need to be noticed under, if it's not an urgency?
That's going to be part of the discussion, but
Okay,
the.
but we have
the-
enough time
The
to-
request for continuance pertains to the captioned item, which is
Okay.
still an urgency, so.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect, thank you. On August 12th? Perfect, thank you.
So with that, after public comment for the requested continuance, your board can just approve that by motion to continue this to a date and time certain, August 12th.
Which would be, I move that we continue.
Let's get public input. real quick.
I'm sorry.
Yes, so I'll open it up for public comment, for anyone that wants to comment on moving it to next week, what we'll be discussing. If you want to comment, sir, on moving it to next week, or on the postponing it, or postponement, if you're looking to talk about the ordinance in general, we'll have to talk about that next week. Well, then, if you would like to come up and say something into the microphone, yes, you could speak on that. That would be ideal.
It's the same thing.
Can you say your name for the record real quick?
Randy
Mhm.
Ledger.
Go ahead.
Well, I just found out that marijuana grows that use water have to have a level indicator on the well and meters. And they don't exist in Lake County. People don't have them.
So can we?
Now, wait.
We need to
just a
focus
second,
on
just a second.
if you would like it to come back next week, or you would rather talk about it today.
Okay, I have been without water for 6 years. I don't want to wait one more hour. I don't.
So you recommend
Something that is
not to
so
move it.
obviously wrong. Your predecessors looked at this and shined it on because marijuana is a cash crop of Lake County. It's the largest crop in Lake County. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong on the largest crop.
Where? Where? Who says that?
I did up here.
I disagree. There is more. There
All
was
right,
a
sir,
50,
sir,
52
sir,
foot.
that's enough. We're not going to debate on what the largest crop is. We're trying to find out what you would like to do. If you would like to have it this week or next week, that's all. Okay. All right. Is there any other public comment on Zoom? All right. If you can unmute, you'll have 3 minutes. And let's keep it to the postponing of the future date, continuation.
Hello, my name's Reverend Julia Bono. I'm here today on behalf of myself and the concerned members of the Rainbow Church of Living Light. I've been waiting some time on this call, and I'm now informed that I'm going to have to appear at another time. Is it possible for me to make my statements that would be made next week, and perhaps they can be?
No, you can make them next week, if possible.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, just to make it short then, we would like to express our strong collective opposition to the proposed ordinance. I'll come here next week to do that in detail.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Any other hands in Zoom? We'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. Supervisor Sabatier, I see your pen up.
Yeah, I just, this is the second time that we'll be delaying. I know we've been receiving a lot of comments, and there's a request for a little bit more time spent with staff, and I'm not certain where the board stands. I have an idea based on your guys' philosophy and me knowing you personally, not any specific conversation, but just I'm open for the idea of at least discussing if we want to move forward with bringing back a finalized version of an ordinance. Right now, we don't have an ordinance today that was posted on the agenda, but I don't mind having a open public discussion of, do we want to move forward and utilize more staff time to finalize a ordinance that comes back to us? Or is this board not interested in seeing that? That way, at least it provides better direction Since it's already on the agenda, people have been here. This is the second time that we've seen them, some of them. And so I'm just saying I'm open for at least that vague discussion of are we interested in a moratorium or not, and whether to move forward, not the specifics of what's in the moratorium, because that will become later once the ordinance has been finalized.
Supervisor, or actually, Vice Chair was first, and then I'll.
Well, first I just wanted to seek clarification to make sure I'm understanding. So what was proposed is that we're continuing this item potentially to next week, but we don't know if it's still going to be an urgency ordinance or a regular ordinance.
Lloyd.
That's what I'm confused on.
I didn't intend it to be an urgency ordinance at the very beginning. That's not what I had requested. I wanted an ordinance to a moratorium or a pause, as I had wrote, to until we got our ordinance, our cannabis ordinance, written and accepted, is what I am actually looking for. And because otherwise, we're going to have a number of cannabis grows that are legal non-compliant. Very probably, because we're reworking our ordinance. So we kind of looked at where a legal cutoff would be on it. And that's what I'm looking for. And I would actually rather not go with the August 12th, and the reason why is I'm unclear. I was asking if we need to put this in the paper and if we need to notice that we do not, if it's not. So I wanted to make sure that we could hear it at the next time it's on our agenda. That's what I was looking for.
Did you want to finish?
Well, my second comment was going to be, because I know we are working on an ordinance right now.
Yes.
So I'm, I guess, interested in having the larger discussion on whether or not we want to do anything in between, because I know that is being worked on. I don't think we're getting any cannabis permits right now coming in. I'd be interested in having a...
There would be about 30, I think, or so that would be affected. So basically what I had put in it was if they are, we have a moratorium on water usage where they have to get the water use permits, which is still in effect. But there's still some that have not been completed by the CCD or CDD. And so what I'm trying to do is avoid additional permits from being accepted and put through the process. So if they've went on to the CEQA process, that's where it costs them a lot more money. And so those we would go ahead and continue with. Many of them have been, but there's still a number that have not been accepted yet and not been completed. We'd like to hold those so that they are compliant with the new ordinance. So that was what I was asking for.
Okay. Lloyd and then Supervisor Pascal. Lloyd, if you can.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right, so the request that was initially made to staff, in part my office, was whether or how to impose, what's the process for adopting a moratorium on, to some degree, to some extent, as it relates to cannabis permits, right? In light of the ongoing process of revamping the portions of the zoning ordinance by staff. The recommendation that was made by my office in part and staff was the vehicle, the tool to do that is through an interim ordinance as an urgency measure under Government Code Section 65858, which states that in order to bypass the procedures, paraphrasing here, but the procedures otherwise required prior to the adoption of a zoning ordinance, the legislative body of a county may adopt an urgency measure as an interim ordinance prohibiting any uses that may be in conflict with a contemplated general plan, specific plan, or zoning proposal that the legislative body, planning commission, or the planning department is considering or studying or intends to study within a reasonable time. The standard for utilizing that interim urgency ordinance is that there has to be that urgency interim ordinance itself has to contain legislative findings that there is a current and immediate threat to the public health, safety, or welfare, and that the approval of additional subdivisions, use permits, variances, building permits, or any other applicable entitlement for use which is required in order to comply with the zoning ordinance would result in that threat to public health, safety, or welfare. That's the vehicle that we're using here. So, to put it in other terms, if the board were to not utilize this tool under the government code, that may result in defaulting back to the procedures for adopting amendments to a zoning ordinance in order to present or adopt or pursue and implement this proposed moratorium. It would have to go through that process instead of Government Code 65858. That process of adopting a zoning ordinance or amending it therewith may be more extensive. It has more built-in procedures. It may take more time. Staff has indicated in an email that it's at least 30 days because then we're talking about a regular ordinance as opposed to an urgency ordinance. So it would at least take 30 days for it to be passed between first and second reading for regular ordinances. And in addition to that, one of the main distinctions between a regular ordinance, a non-urgency ordinance, and an urgency ordinance is that an urgency ordinance typically is of a temporary nature. You have that 45-day period by which that urgency ordinance would be in effect once it's adopted, and then it expires, and then it may be subject to further extensions. Regular ordinances, a non-urgency ordinance, typically after it passes first and second reading, they're adopted, they're implemented, unless they're subsequently repealed or sunsetted or amended. So those would be the differences between the two. For purposes of your board today, what's being continued is what's under the caption, which is the urgency ordinance. Now, your board has the discretion to just withdraw the item altogether if your board is now thinking of pivoting to utilizing other tools possibly outside of 65858 of the government code to not utilize that interim ordinance as an urgency measure tool under that code section and use something else in order to impose a moratorium. Staff would have to look into that some more to see if there is such a tool via a regular non-urgency ordinance, and that would take a little more time. But for purposes of your board today, what's before your board is a continuance request of this item, which is as captioned captioned as an urgency ordinance.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If you want to respond to that.
I do want to respond. Okay, so you were on vacation when I went up to visit with Carlos last week on this. So you're giving me information I didn't receive when I was visiting with them. I had actually brought this forward back in early June, I believe, trying to get it on. So I wasn't aware of that, but it just seems like it's been delayed and delayed. So some of the information you're giving me right now is I didn't get before. So I was actually looking to you, can we do the urgency then at this moment, or next week at this, and then bring forward while we're waiting for the time to do the regular ordinance? That's what I had actually asked for, was a regular ordinance.
If the regular ordinance that you're referring to is the Article Chapter 21 or Article 73 that CDD staff is mainly currently working on right now, as far as the revamping of the zoning ordinance of Lake County, that's going through those channels.
No, I didn't mean ordinance. I meant the pause, the moratorium is what I meant.
Okay. So again, I mean, the current process and caption process that we're in right now is is doing it through the interim urgency ordinance. If your board adopts a moratorium based on the interim urgency ordinance, my recommendation would be then there would be no need to impose a similar identical moratorium under a regular ordinance. It would
Except
be
for
kind
the
of
deadline, except for the dayline, it ending in 45 days and then having to extend it. I just wanted it to coincide with the ordinance. So when the new ordinance is adopted, we don't have additional projects that are non-compliant.
Well, that would be addressed in, even as whether it's an urgency ordinance or a non-urgency ordinance, from my understanding of it, because as it's drafted right now, and there will be a finalized version, staff anticipates there will be a finalized version of this, there would be a cutoff date for exempting certain applications before a certain date, probably the effective date of this urgency ordinance as proposed, where, those applications that have been submitted would then be exempt from the moratorium. Whereas applications that are submitted on or after that date, during the effective time of the urgency ordinance, if it's adopted, that would be subject to the moratorium. So that topic would be addressed in the ordinance itself, in the substance of the ordinance itself, whether it's an urgency ordinance or non-urgency ordinance.
All right. Did you have more?
No, the only thing different was you had whether they had came forward and been submitted to CDD. I had it when I wrote it in, those that had been accepted by CDD would be exempt from those that had not been accepted by CDD, which there's approximately 30, those would fall under the guidelines of the new ordinance.
Well, that
Here's
would
where the difference is.
that would be that they would fall because that's the quote unquote deemed complete determination,
Yes.
right? So there's a lot of built-in provisions and procedures under the Permit Streamlining Act that goes into what constitutes as deemed complete. That is one of the main issues that staff looked into, that culminated in the response and what is expected to be a finalized version of this draft urgency ordinance. But to answer your question, I think, hopefully, any application that was submitted, what's being proposed right now in the draft is any application that's submitted before the effective date of the urgency ordinance would be exempt from the moratorium. And that would include any applications that have already been received by CDD and currently being reviewed by CDD and also deemed complete by CDD. So all of that, it would be included under that category.
Okay, thank you.
That's the way that's the way I thought of it as well.
Okay.
Supervisor Pyska and then Supervisor Sabatier.
It's been a little confusing trying to understand what the intent is. So it sounds like today, your intent is, well, actually, can you just summarize again your intent one more time with this? Because I think I don't have a clear understanding, or I'm starting to get there. I think we've heard there's a lot of how the public is understanding it in different ways too. So can you just summarize one more time what your intent is?
My intent is to put a pause where we legally can on cannabis permits until the new ordinance is accepted, so that we do not have additional grows that are legally non-compliant.
So is that
and I
the
looked,
complete and incomplete applications that we already have, they would apply to those or
no,
not?
no.
So only new applications coming in?
Yes, yeah. So, and that's why I had to look to legal counsel to find out where we could legally put that cutoff.
Okay. I don't think that we've had any applications come in this year, and I think, in talking with Director Turner, I think we had 4 or 5 last year, because it does go back to the water board requirement from 2020. So I don't know that I can support this if there's, I don't understand, I mean, I guess it seems like a non-issue if we're trying to target applications that aren't coming in.
And I had wanted it a little further up, those that had not been deemed complete, according to, as I understand what county council has just stated, that we have to include those in, but it would still put a stop in for any additionals. If
So you
anyone
wanted to
wants
stop the incompletes?
I
until
did
the
want to
new-
stop the incompletes, but as I understand
Yeah.
by county council, that is not legal.
Right.
Just to.
Go ahead, Lloyd,
Not-
please.
Not
Oh.
the subject of legal, that's, you know, how you craft your ordinance is up to your board. What I'm referring to is how it's drafted right now, as staff is trying to address some of the issues that your board in the past few, some members of your, that have been brought up by you. For instance, we're addressing those issues right now. And it will culminate in a finalized version. What I will say is, as far as, you know, if we were to use the deemed complete standard as a cutoff, then we would need to incorporate provisions of the Permit Streamlining Act, and there are pretty extensive provisions to those, as opposed to be incorporated in the terms of the urgency ordinance, and that will include what would constitute as deemed complete, noticing requirements or noticing provisions to that effect, and and I think I referenced this in staff's as part of staff's research. If at a certain period of time, CDD staff has not responded to an application and has given no indication of a determination under the Permit Streamlining Act, it's deemed approved. So all of those provisions would have to be built in, and that is an option for your board, and staff can rework the draft urgency ordinance to reflect that. The other alternative is to just, as I've explained before, use that cutoff date. The cutoff date being the effective date of this proposed urgency ordinance, and anything before that cutoff date, whether it's deemed complete, as long as it's submitted, whether it's still in the process of review or CDD has determined, that's exempt from the moratorium. So that would encompass and include those applications that you had in mind as being exempt from the moratorium.
Okay. We've been trying to work on this update for many years. It's been a long, long process. When I came on the board, I think there were 365 permits in the pipeline. So we've worked through a lot. I think there's around 60 right now. So I think we're not getting new applications in. We've got this like de facto moratorium with the water board. I think we just let this work through. We need to honor the ordinance we have today and those people that put these applications in many years ago. And they've spent a lot of money. They've been working through this process. The ordinance will change, and I would like to hear from Director Turner of what that looks like when the new ordinance goes into effect. If we do have these permits that have been, or these applications that have been in the pipeline for a long time. And I know a lot of these incomplete ones have fallen off and no one's working on them. And maybe we need to understand what percentage of those are sort of just going away on their own.
Yeah. Go ahead, Director Turner.
Hi, Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. We currently have 65 applications going through the process. I think about 30 of them may have been deemed complete already. Permits that have been approved already, as well as any that do get to the Planning Commission and are approved, will be considered legal nonconforming once the new ordinance is in effect. They are able to continue as they move on, but unless otherwise covered in the ordinance, legal nonconforming uses are not allowed to be expanded. And so they're allowed to continue until they've ceased operation for 2 years and they expire, but they can't be expanded. So all of our existing permits okay, when I say permit, I don't mean application. All of our already approved permits and cannabis-related businesses are free to continue under the existing regulations. All of the permits we do have in effect, those that get approved by Article 27 as it stands now, are free to keep going. Once we approve Article 73 and there's a new set of regulations, any permit that has not yet been approved, so any permit that is still in application process, will then need to conform to the existing regulations of that time. Whereas all others that have been approved prior will be legal nonconforming in whatever aspects are changed in the new regulations.
So if any of the 65 applications that we have now are approved after the new ordinance is adopted, they have to conform.
It will cause a change, yes. Once the new regulations go into effect, any applications that are in process will need to conform to the new regulations.
And when do you expect the ordinance to be complete?
My goal is still to have it to you by the end of the year. And yes, the number of applications we have received has dropped significantly in the last few years. We did have 5 new applications last year. We've not received any new applications for this year.
How many of the incomplete applications we have are just sort of non-responsive and falling away?
Most of the rest of them are kind of just sitting there. Sometimes if they come in with incomplete items such as they're missing hydrology studies or, that could take significant time. Biological studies, those things take time. So it's hard to determine if they are sitting there because of inactivity or lack of interest, which may also have happened, or if they're working on their studies. We don't do like a continual update. We just kind of set it aside and keep working on the projects that we have in front of us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Yeah, just a couple of comments. One, apologize if I missed this, Mr. Guintavano. An urgency ordinance requires 4/5 vote, and a non-urgency ordinance requires a majority vote, correct?
Correct.
I just wanted to make sure so that that can be part of the thought process on which direction to go, if there's a direction we're going. And I'll say this, there's been some frustrations at this board level, especially as we deal with the appeals, where not only is there frustration to a certain degree, but there's also a bad optic in the sense that there's been times where we just seem to go against what our planning commission is doing. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, we are two separate bodies, but I think it shows that there's something different in how we are viewing what's moving forward. And so I think this is the reason why this has been brought up, is because there has been some concerns in how it is that some applications are moving forward. We can't stop the ones that are deemed complete. But again, I think the fact that we're already having this conversation, there's a reason we're here, and I think it's because we see a sense of need to make some changes and a sense of concern if those applications, not those, if they're deemed complete, there's nothing we can do, but that more applications may start moving through the process with an expectation that currently the rules are what they are. And I don't know that we need to keep hitting the same wall that we've been hitting. And so I don't know that this is a bad idea. Is it a great need for the potentially 2 to 5 applications potentially that we'll see between now and then? But I think it's also a statement that we see a reason for why we're doing the ordinance change, and that we see a reason to just hit the pause just to make sure that people don't get invested, such as buying land and moving forward in a process that eventually might get swiped from under their feet. And the fact that we're having a much larger discussion about this, I hope that we can maybe bring it back to the public, because we've been doing a lot more than just talking about continuing or not continuing.
You asked us to. We were supposed to talk about it next week, but you're like,
I asked, but I didn't, yeah, it went into that.
Vice Chair, real quick before I open it back up.
Yeah, well, it seems to me that it's unlikely that we'll get any applications coming in the next 4 months before that ordinance comes back in December. We definitely need changes in the ordinance. We need to take a hard look at that, but I'm not seeing where we're gonna really, anything's gonna happen between now and December.
I have one more thing.
Yes, please.
One of the thought processes behind this was to allow our staff more time as well to work on the ordinance. And also for the growers, that it's clearly written so that people don't make those investments and then not be able to, they've invested and then they can't proceed forward. So it's also a little pause there to help protect them as well. And stating that, well, we might not have anything come forward that is going to slip through is not a good excuse to me, because if it happens to be next door to you that one slips through that will be non-conforming or non-compliant, it affects you. So I don't see what the harm is if it's really, as it's been stated by some, that it's not going to affect anybody. Then what difference does it make? Let's put it in effect. In my opinion, I would like to go with the
Urgency or non-urgency?
non-urgency. So I'd like to push this a little further out so we can get the non-urgency in so that it can be timed and written to go with the adoption of the new ordinance, is what I would personally like to do, and since I'm the one bringing it forward. And again, we don't know, it looks like it'll be the end of the year, we'll be seeing it, or whenever it marries up, but that's what I would like to see. And I know that there's people that feel that there's no more coming forward, or there might not be any coming forward, but what if there is? And what if it's next door to the person that it's next door to? It's gonna make a difference to them. So that's where I'm setting on it. That's what I would like to see.
Supervisor Pyska?
Well, you know, I don't, if we were to say, receive an application tomorrow, this is what you're talking about, new applications. There's no way that staff is going to be able to process that application in the next 6 months or 9 months or probably even a year, right? I mean, it takes, yeah, let's talk about the time. If we received an application tomorrow, what does that look like for going through the department, all going through your staff and all the way through Planning Commission?
Even if the application were complete, well-designed, and ready to go, it would probably take no less than 8 months to a year to get through our system because of our current workload and other things we have going on.
What are the limitations on the permits that aren't ready, the permits that have kind of been sitting for quite some time? How much longer do they have? And I don't mean the permits that are just waiting on like a
Complete.
study or, I'm talking about those that have just been dormant for, what happens and when do they just fall off, or when do they get removed from the list?
We do have a denial without prejudice process for those that have been stagnant for typically 6 months. On those, we're sending them letters to get them off the list. So that culling has taken place, and we're down to the last ones.
Oh, okay.
Let's say the ones that are stagnant right now all of a sudden come back and they're ready to go. They send in all the incomplete information that was missing. They then go to the back of the line of all the applications that we are processing. So it is unlikely there will be some surge of cannabis applications going before the Planning Commission within the next few months. And when I say unlikely, that is due to current staff resources and capacity, as well as competing things that are going on, because I'm also pulling some time from our planning staff to take a look at our local area plans, our climate adaptation plan. I'm stretching them pretty thin right now, so there's not this reserve of unused time with our staff to all of a sudden start cranking through more cannabis applications. I'm confident in the staff's dedication that the applications that are considered complete right now will continue to proceed. But they will proceed pretty much in the same manner that you've seen them proceeding for the last few years.
What is the average time for an application to get through? Because you said in a perfect world it would be eight months or longer.
In an average time, probably about 2 years right now.
Right.
So I can guarantee you that any applications received starting today, there's no chance they'd be ready for Planning Commission before the end of the year.
All right. So you did ask to open public comment for one more, just to go around?
Since we were only open for...
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and open it up if anyone would like to comment.
Good morning, Board. Tom Lasik. I want to sort of echo what Supervisor Sabatier mentioned.
Good morning, Shannon.
Oh, morning.
Shannon. My name's not Shannon, by the way. So I just want to reflect back on how this ball, I think, kind of got started rolling. It was during the Nina Star Farms appeal where I heard Chair Crandall mention the idea of a pause. And it was clear that in that appeal, the applicant had no water, right? I mean, there's no water in that whole area. How did that get all the way to you guys without that being caught, right? And the fair argument was made that, yeah, the water was an issue. Well, there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 in the queue right in the same area. And they all say the same thing. Oh, there's no problem with the water. Okay, so there's something fundamentally going on that's allowing those things to get through the process all the way to you, only to have the very same fair argument made again that there's the same problem. And it's not just water. There's other structural things that are going on in the process that's creating this burden on appeals and bringing it to your attention. And it's not because, the Planning Commission is prejudicial or anything like that, or is seeing things necessarily differently than you are, but I will say that the process is different. As a public, it's very difficult during the Planning Commission hearing to get heard. And so the first opportunity for the public to be actually fully heard is in this body here. So a pause, in addition to, and I respectfully disagree that all of them have to come in. I believe the Streamlining Act would make a reasonable cutoff if it's been approved and it's loaded to CEQA. That is a reasonable and fair cutoff. Be that as it may, when my assessment is, I think the process needs to be looked at. You're going to keep getting people appealing because they come to the hearing saying, hey, I got a problem here and you're not listening. Well, they weren't listened to before, and this is their only chance. So if we can fix the process and make it better and use this time to understand, okay, how many more Nina Stars are there? Okay, we got to reassess those. How many more are having this issue? That was also the basis for an appeal, like sours, for example. How many are in that same boat? Well, we need to review those too. And I think you'll find that the number of appeals and the burden that comes onto the board would drop significantly. But I'll leave it at that. But that's my observation. Thank you.
Thank you. Did
anybody else? I was.
I think he was gonna come up. You want to come up? Come on up. Give Miss 3 full minutes. What's that? Okay.
Kind of hard to do when you're without water, and you can prove that the gentleman, that this cannabis operation is at fault. Ma'am, don't you have that whole thing from the court, the judgment from the court? Didn't you get that?
Sure I did.
Okay. Well, the judgment of the court has already said he is guilty. He has done it. He has stole water from me. And I can't get, I don't understand. I'm high school educated. I'm a career vet. I mean, I've done it all, and I can't get through to, what's going on. One thing is I just found this out recently about the water level indicators. If they had a water level indicator or a meter, I'd have water, because he couldn't draw it down. Now, this was supposed to be part of the process. And I still disagree with you about marijuana being not the cash crop. I'm sorry, it is. It is. There was a 52-foot trailer pulled across the across the road from my house. They're loading it up now. It's harvest time. What else is being harvested around here? I don't see any pears. I don't see any walnuts. Grapes are okay, that's a different process. I'm sorry, sir, but you pissed me off.
I tend to do that.
Yeah, I'm 72 years old and I've got a bad temper. I'm sorry, but I'm right. And when I'm right, and I can prove it. Now, and you say that this ordinance you got doesn't take care of the guys that have already had the permits. Well, those permits were done terrible. I mean, ma'am, did anyone?
Sir, can you keep your comments here, and once you're finished, we'll have, she can.
Okay, you can ask her. I believe there was no water people at all on that property looking around. No one came and talked to me about it. No one has ever done a search of the water until he needed the well. And then we got a witch out there, which I happen to have infinite knowledge of, and I know that I cannot have water at my current well. I have to pump it for about 3/4 of a mile. Anyway, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I am at my wit's end. I'm not giving up. I mean, I'm gonna dig into this. Somebody will listen to me. I'm sorry.
All right.
I turned into the rest of my time.
Anyone else in the chambers before we go to Zoom?
My name is Rebecca Pledger. That was my husband. And I know how to get around it sometimes. But what I see today, and from what I've heard, I really appreciate the input, because as it says, the urgency part of it, that's not how I read it. How I read it was that it's urgent that we get this through, to go through, to decrease the amount of cannabis in our county due to, for me, as I see it, driving around this county, excuse me, driving around this county, I see more and more crops that have a high water usage. And how do we get around that? Or how do they get around it? Because as I heard a couple weeks ago, that we are not in a drought situation. I researched it, because that's what I like to do when I disagree with something. And as of July 29th of this year, 38% of our state is in a drought situation. And that information I obtained from plantmaps.com, because our county, we have a lake out here. It's no longer clear. years ago. I was born and raised here in Lakeport, and I'm proud of that. Okay, but I see changes, and changes are necessary. And the urgency I see is to restrict so that there doesn't continually be a draw on the water resources in this county. Something just came out from the Farmer's Almanac, which has been around ever since I was born. That's a long time. There is a drought, and it would take 2 feet of rainfall by the end of December to rectify this drought. And
All right, and can we stay off of water now? Let's talk about urgency
Okay.
or non-urgency. You've got your point, but
okay,
just wanna
so
wrap up.
yeah, water is is necessary to sustain life, and I feel that the cannabis grows decrease or increase the water consumption.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Zoom. If you can unmute iPhone 10, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Skyla Lewa, Pillsbury Family Farms, and I am here today because to address what is becoming an undeniable pattern within our county. Delays selective enforcement while our county decides to favor people. Oh, gosh. We are witnessing a quiet moratorium that is not being imposed through legislation, but through bureaucracy and delay. Projects that have met their obligations are being pushed aside. Meanwhile, Director of Community Development has chosen to focus 75% of her department's time on one farm, mine, while other vital work like requested ordinance updates sat on the back burner. We were told the process must be fair and thorough, but it is not being applied evenly. In a recent meeting, Supervisor Owen looked at Director Turner and asked, "Do you think her farm is going to be a good player?"
So can
And I
can we
want to
focus
address
on
that
whether you
directly.
think it needs to be an urgency or non-urgency?
It needs to happen. You guys
So
need
you
to
want,
pass
you
this ordinance.
favor an urgency ordinance, or you favor just waiting until?
You need to pass the ordinance.
Moratorium,
because
yes.
Director Turner has taken way too long to follow your request to get it done.
Thank you. Unmute, we'll give you your 3 minutes, Mr. Anderson.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for checking in on that. My name's James Anderson with Everview Law, and we represent a number of permitted cannabis operators within the county. So I'm going to keep my comment brief. It seems like you want it to be, focusing on whether or not it should be an emergency or an urgency moratorium or a standard ordinance. My argument that it should be neither. You shouldn't pass this. I would strongly encourage the board to not do this at all. As we heard from Director Turner and Supervisor Pieska, it doesn't even seem like this serves, a purpose at this point. Whether or not there's, pending applications or there's a imminent threat of numerous applications coming in is unclear. And I would also point out, a lot of the focus so far has been on, unfairness to, potential neighbors of potential, legal non-conforming uses if more projects are approved, which again is unclear if that will happen. But I'd also like to point out the way that the ordinance is drafted, or at least the urgency ordinance as it was drafted for the prior Board of Supervisors hearing, it also prevented all modifications to, existing and permitted operations, which would work a terrible unfairness to all cannabis operators in this county who, either want to or need to modify their permit operations, for any reason. There's situations I can think of off the top of my head where permitted operators, want to modify their permits, for environmental reasons or for, minor changes in layouts or anything of that nature. And this ordinance would essentially lock them in place, which is, incredibly unfair to them, especially after they have to go through a, I would say maybe not an 8-month or year-long process. In, numerous circumstances, it's, 4 or 5 years of investment and time and money and sweat and tears to get their permits. And so, again, I would just urge you, do not adopt this ordinance either as an urgency or as a standard ordinance, and think of the permitted operators in the county if you do consider this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Guest, is double guest, can you unmute? Yeah. And we'll give you 3 minutes.
I'm not sure why it says double guest, but thank you, Mr. Chair, Angela Amaral. So a couple things. I just want to say that while I appreciate Director Turney remaining optimistic to have a revised ordinance to your board, if history has taught us anything, it's that the public has great concerns about this issue. A revised ordinance would still have to go to the Ag Advisory Committee and back to the Planning Commission before coming back to your board. Keep in mind, a revised ordinance was expected to take 6 months to a year when this first began over 3 years ago. Please remain realistic and realize that a revised ordinance is highly unlikely to be approved by your board by the end of this year. Therefore, I would recommend that a standard ordinance for a moratorium, perhaps with a sunset clause adoption, saying upon adoption of the revised ordinance by your board, would be the prudent thing to do at this time. So just saying that once you guys adopt the new revised ordinance, that would sunset this moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Carlos Bono, if you can unmute. All right, so if there's another one.
Hello? Can you hear
Okay,
me?
yes. Start his time.
Yeah, I just I think that as a member of the community here in Lake County, I think that the ordinance should be passed, and we shouldn't be wasting time on moratoriums. The ordinance should be passed or not, one of the two, and that's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Did she speak on this already, or did she speak on the previous?
It was the
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. You can unmute, Julia.
Oh, I'm
There
sorry.
you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, Reverend Julia Bono here again. On behalf of myself and the other concerned members of the Rainbow Church of Living Light, I am here representing. I ask our Board of Supervisors to vote now to kill this obviously ill-conceived, unpopular, and generally unnecessary moratorium permanently without wasting any further valuable time and effort from county staff or people like myself who are here today when we were told to be here today to vehemently oppose it. We need to pass the actual cannabis ordinance quickly, not waste more time discussing a poorly thought out moratorium like this, urgent or otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close public comment. And just before we go on more, are we talking about this next week or not? Because if we aren't, then I will make comments. If not, I don't want to go back and forth. I'll wait till next week.
Well, that is one of the items before your board. The immediate item before your board is whether or not this item should be continued to a date and time certain. That item being the proposed interim urgency ordinance. So if your board, by majority vote, wishes to continue that item, that can be done by motion, approval, and I believe there was a proposed date and time certain of August 12th, 1:30 p.m. And so that is one item. So and that is the only item before your board as it relates to this caption. Now, as it relates to this item, in light of these more subsequent discussions, recent discussions today, your board can provide direction to staff separate and distinct from what I just mentioned as your item before your board, the continuance request. Your board can also provide, as it was with any other items presented to your board, direction to staff for further research or drafting of, because there's been some discussion, some proposal of this being presented as a non-urgency measure or non-urgency ordinance proposal. And staff can certainly look into that pursuant to your board's direction, or internally pursuant to county's policies and procedures by any member of your board, just like with any other item. And that would be a different topic altogether from the first item that's before your board, the continuance request.
So just lastly, if we decide, if Helen decides she doesn't want to go forward with the interim urgency moratorium and she wants to go with a non-urgency, does that still happen next week, or is that a new subject we need to come forward with and this gets killed right now?
Correct, new subject, that part is the part that's correct, because what's captioned right now is interim urgency ordinance. If that's not what we're, if there's not gonna be a vote on that, whether it's a continuance or anything else substantive, then there's no action taken to your board as it relates to today's item that's captioned. So anything outside of that item can be taken internally with staff as far as, how to move forward with this, perhaps propose non-urgency method, right? And staff can look into that, or as an alternative, direction can be given to your board because the items seem to be related anyway. The only difference is between the proposals is urgency or non-urgency.
Yes. I would still like to go with, I would like the non-urgency, which is what I'd asked for back in early June. So I would like to if we have to rewrite it as a non-urgency standard pause or moratorium, that is actually what I wanted, because I wanted it to coincide where it daylights and it ends with the adoption of the new ordinance, cannabis ordinance. That is what I'd have wanted.
All right, so
I did not want the urgency.
so Supervisor Sabatier, I know you had your pen up. Want to add to this?
I just want to clarify, because there was some comments meant that I think are slightly confusing, and I'd like to get some clarification. Number one, when we do have a new ordinance, not everything is non-conforming legal. You can still be absolutely conforming legal and be able to get an expansion on your farm, get insurance, whatever the case might be. That non-conforming kind of creates problems, but not every farm will be non-conforming. It's very specific to each project. So I just want to clarify that, because we said once there's a new ordinance, the rest are non-conforming and we move forward with the conforming. That's not the case. Number two is in the Permit Streamlining Act, I was thinking this, I had to look it up just to make sure, but if you're deemed complete with this set of rules today, there's a very difficult task to apply new rules to a deemed complete application. And so it's not an impossibility to apply new rules, but it is more difficult to say, well, you were deemed complete, but now we have new rules in December. It's taken 6 months to get through it. That's not what I'm reading. Again, it's not an impossibility, but it's not easy either to apply new rules to a project that has been deemed complete. And so I kind of want to ask County Council if that is an appropriate statement to make, because I think that we're making statements that allows people to say, don't worry about it, even if it's deemed complete, we get to change. Once the rules are in place, they have to abide to those new rules. That might be a new study, that might be a new design, a new site plan. I don't know what that means for the project, but I feel like we've made statements that might lead folks in a direction that may not be the correct way. The Permitting Streamlining Act, what's our status for deemed complete if we change the rules based on the new ordinance we're expecting by the end of the year?
That has to be subject to further research by staff. We could certainly get back to you on that question as it relates to the provisions of the Permit Streamlining Act. I cannot provide an immediate answer. None that would be reliable anyway, even if I were to look through the statutes today. So Direction can be given, or again, offline through staff, that question can be asked, and our office is more than willing to do that research and provide a response.
So it looks, unless someone else has something else, it looks like we're not going to be able to even move forward with it because Supervisor Owen wants to move forward with a non-urgency. And even if we were to do an urgency, I don't know if we would get 4 out of 5 when it comes to this right now. So, and I think that's what you said right away. I probably should have just taken that when you said that, Supervisor Sabatier, asking if anybody was interested. But yeah, anyhow, I think with that, should we take that date and time out and then allow further direction to staff to help work with Supervisor Owen to work on the non-urgency?
Yes.
And if there is consensus by the board to do that on the non-urgency
Can
track,
I just withdraw this request?
essentially the item itself, yeah.
I withdraw it.
Okay.
Right, and so is there a consensus to give direction to staff to work on the non-urgency?
Yes, please.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and actually I gave that last week as well. The direction on what I had wanted with that and the notes that I had sent to you a few weeks ago.
Is there one more, Supervisor Sabatier, you're good with it, or you, okay? Looks like we have consensus to give direction to staff to work with Supervisor Owen on a non-urgency. And with that, I think this ends this. Do
Yes.
we need anything else?
It's killed.
All right.
Thank you.
So with that, we're going to close this item, and we're going to take a break.
Lunch?
Should we take a lunch break or just a break? Because
It's noon.
I know you have 2 other things that we're behind on.
It is noon. I'm looking, there he is.
Let's take a lunch break and push it to 1. So we'll go ahead and
Sorry, Ben.
start our lunch break here at 12, come back at 1, and we'll move on to 6.9. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, guys.
No, I'm sorry. I should have